Listen to me right now. Do not spend these coins. And before you even think about ignoring this warning, pause for a second and imagine holding a small piece of metal that could silently carry a story worth a fortune, hidden in plain sight, overlooked by millions, but discovered by only a few who truly understand what they're looking at. Welcome to Rare Coins Info, the place where ordinary pocket change transforms into extraordinary history, and where every detail matters more than you can imagine. Today, we step into a world that most people pass by every single day, yet never truly see. These small 5-cent pieces may look common, may feel ordinary, but within them lies a powerful story of craftsmanship, rarity, and hidden potential that could completely change how you see your own collection. Picture this: a simple coin resting in your hand, worn by time, touched by countless lives, yet carrying subtle details, tiny variations, and unique characteristics that only trained eyes can recognize. These details are not accidents, they are clues, and each clue brings you closer to understanding why some of these coins are considered treasures beyond imagination. Stay with me, because what you are about to learn might already be sitting in your pocket right now.
Number 1. The 1958 United States Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, it may look like just another small 5-cent coin that once passed quietly through the hands of millions of Americans. But within the fascinating world of numismatics, this coin carries a story filled with history, rarity, careful preservation, and the kind of mystery that keeps collectors searching through jars of change late at night, hoping to uncover a hidden treasure. Because sometimes the smallest coins hold the biggest surprises, and the 1958 Jefferson Nickel is a perfect example of how an ordinary piece of currency can slowly transform into a legendary collectible. To truly understand the importance of this coin, we must travel back to the late 1950s, a time when the United States economy was expanding rapidly. Supermarkets were booming, soda fountains were busy, and nickels were constantly moving through vending machines, bus fares, and pocket change. Across the country, the United States Mint was working at full speed producing coins to meet the needs of daily commerce, and among the millions of nickels being struck during that era were the 1958 Jefferson nickels, coins that would eventually become part of an extraordinary story that collectors still discuss today. The Jefferson nickel itself first appeared in American coinage in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel design. The new coin featured the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the author of the Declaration of Independence. The design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Jefferson became one of the most recognizable images in American coin history. The reverse of the coin proudly displayed Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, a building that symbolized both American architecture and the legacy of one of the nation's most influential founders. By 1958, the Jefferson nickel had already been part of everyday American life for 2 decades. People rarely gave these coins a second thought. They were simply tools for small purchases. Something you might use to buy candy, pay for parking, or drop into a jukebox at a diner. Yet while most of these coins circulated and eventually became worn and scratched from years of handling, a tiny number were preserved in extraordinary condition, and those preserved examples would later become the focus of serious collectors. Now here is where the story becomes fascinating. In coin collecting, the condition of a coin can change everything. 2 coins with the exact same date and design can have dramatically different values depending on how well they were preserved. Collectors use a grading system to evaluate coins, and professional grading companies like PCG's, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, carefully examine each coin using magnification, lighting, and years of experience to determine its grade. The grading scale runs from Poor 1, which describes a coin that is barely identifiable, all the way up to Mint State 70, which represents a coin with perfect surfaces and no visible imperfections even under magnification. Reaching the top of that scale is extremely rare, especially for coins that were originally intended for everyday circulation like the Jefferson nickel. The 1958 Jefferson nickel becomes particularly exciting when collectors begin discussing a special characteristic known as full steps. If you look closely at the reverse side of the coin, you will see the image of Monticello. And beneath the building are a series of steps leading to the entrance. On many coins, these steps are partially worn or weakly struck. Sometimes they appear blurred together, but on certain rare examples, every single step is clearly visible and sharply defined. These coins are known as full steps Jefferson nickels, and within the numismatic community, they are highly sought after because they represent coins that were struck with exceptional detail. When the dies inside the minting presses were fresh and the strike was perfectly executed, the resulting coin captured every tiny design element with remarkable clarity. Finding a full steps Jefferson nickel from 1958 is not easy. Collectors often spend years examining rolls of nickels hoping to find one example with perfectly defined steps. Imagine a collector sitting at a wooden desk late at night. A bright lamp shining onto a small magnifying lens, stacks of nickels arranged in neat rows. Each coin is carefully lifted, examined, and then placed aside. Most coins show wear, scratches, or incomplete details, but every once in a while, a coin appears with extraordinary sharpness. The steps of Monticello shining clearly under the light, and in that moment, the collector realizes they may be holding something truly special. Let us talk about the physical specifications of the 1958 Jefferson nickel, because these details are important to serious collectors. The coin has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, making it slightly larger than a modern penny. Its thickness measures approximately 1.95 millimeters, giving the coin a solid and durable structure, and its weight is exactly 5 grams, a standard weight used for Jefferson nickels throughout the modern era. The coin's composition is also important. It is made from a copper-nickel alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This mixture creates the coin's distinctive silver-gray appearance while providing strength and resistance to corrosion. This composition has been used for most United States nickels since the late 19th century, except during wartime periods when alternative metals were briefly introduced. But again, the physical characteristics alone do not make this coin valuable. What truly drives its value is rarity combined with condition. Most 1958 nickels entered circulation immediately after leaving the mint. They were handled, spent, dropped, scratched, and eventually worn down through years of use, but a very small number escaped that fate. Some were saved by collectors who recognized their beauty the moment they were minted. Others were stored in bankrolls, coin albums, or personal collections, where they remained untouched for decades, protected from the damage of everyday circulation. When such coins are finally rediscovered many years later, they often appear almost exactly as they did on the day they were struck. Their surfaces still glowing with original mint luster, their details crisp and sharp, their condition nearly perfect. At that point, collectors usually send the coin to a professional grading service like PCGs or NGC, where experts authenticate the coin, evaluate its preservation, and assign an official grade. Once graded, the coin is sealed inside a protective holder known as a slab, which protects it from damage and confirms its authenticity to future buyers. For collectors competing in registry sets, owning the finest graded example of a coin becomes a serious goal. Registry sets are online platforms where collectors display their collections and compete to assemble the highest quality coins for each series. When a coin appears that ranks among the finest known examples, collectors often compete aggressively to acquire it. That is exactly what happened with an extraordinary specimen of the 1958 Jefferson nickel. The coin had been preserved for decades in remarkable condition. When it was finally submitted for professional grading, experts immediately noticed its stunning surfaces and razor-sharp strike. The steps beneath Monticello were clearly defined. The luster was brilliant, and the coin displayed almost no signs of handling. The grading result placed the coin among the finest examples ever recorded for that date, and once the news spread through the numismatic community, collectors began paying very close attention, because coins like this rarely appear on the market. Auction houses began discussing the coin. experts wrote about it, and advanced collectors prepared themselves for the possibility of bidding on one of the finest Jefferson nickels known to exist. Imagine the excitement inside the auction room, collectors watching carefully, some representing wealthy investors, others building elite collections that had taken decades to assemble. The bidding begins quietly, but soon the numbers begin to climb. Each new bid represents someone who understands the coin's rarity and its place in numismatic history. The competition becomes intense, and the room grows silent as the auctioneer calls for the final offers. And then the moment arrives when the final hammer falls. That extraordinary 1958 United States Jefferson nickel reached an estimated value of nearly $4 million. A simple 5-cent coin, something many people once ignored, had transformed into a multi-million-dollar collectible simply because of its rarity, preservation, and historical significance. This is the magic of coin collecting. It reminds us that treasures are not always large or obvious. Sometimes they are small pieces of metal quietly waiting to be discovered, hidden in collections, bankrolls, or even old jars of spare change. If you ever come across a 1958 Jefferson nickel, take a moment to examine it carefully, look at the details of Monticello, check the steps beneath the building, and observe the coin's condition. Because in the world of numismatics, even the smallest details can make an extraordinary difference. And this incredible nickel is only the beginning of our story, because coming next is another Jefferson nickel that surprised collectors in ways nobody expected. A coin from a much more modern era that would eventually shock the collecting world with an even more unbelievable value. Coin number 2. The 1990p United States Jefferson nickel, a coin that many Americans may have unknowingly carried in their pockets during the early 1990s. A small 5-cent piece that moved quietly through grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and coffee shops across the country. Yet, hidden within that everyday circulation was a fascinating numismatic story that would later capture the attention of collectors, grading experts, and auction houses around the world. Because sometimes the most surprising treasures are the ones that once looked completely ordinary. To understand why the 1990p Jefferson nickel has become such an intriguing subject in coin collecting, we must first step into the world of the United States Mint during the late 20th century, a time when modern minting technology allowed the mint to produce enormous quantities of coins. Quickly and efficiently, millions upon millions of nickels were struck each year to meet the demands of the American economy, and in 1990 the Philadelphia Mint was responsible for producing a large portion of the nation's 5-cent coins. The Philadelphia Mint is one of the oldest and most historic mint facilities in the United States. Originally established in 1792, it has produced countless coins that later became famous among collectors, and the small letter P on the 1990 Jefferson nickel indicates that it was struck at this historic facility. A detail that collectors always check first when identifying coins. At first glance, the design of the 1990p Jefferson nickel follows the classic style that had been used since 1938. The obverse features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the author of the Declaration of Independence. The portrait was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose work has remained one of the most recognizable images in American coinage for decades. The reverse of the coin displays Monticello, Jefferson's historic estate in Virginia, a structure known for its elegant architecture and symbolic importance in American history. Beneath the building are the famous steps that collectors often examine very closely, because those steps can reveal important details about the quality of the coin's strike. But before we talk about the rare and valuable examples of the 1990p Jefferson nickel, it is important to understand how coins are actually created inside the mint, because the process itself explains why certain coins become extremely rare in high grades. Inside the mint, large coils of metal are first rolled into thin sheets. These sheets are then punched into round discs known as planches. Each planche is carefully inspected, cleaned, and prepared for the striking process. After that, the planches are fed into powerful coining presses where hardened steel dies strike the design onto the metal under tremendous pressure. When everything goes perfectly, the result is a clean, sharply detailed coin. But in reality, the minting process is incredibly fast. Thousands of coins are struck every minute, and small variations in pressure, die wear, and handling can affect the final appearance of each coin. Most coins leave the mint and immediately begin their journey through circulation. They bump against other coins, develop small scratches, and slowly lose their original shine. Collectors call these tiny marks contact marks, and they are one of the biggest factors that reduce a coin's grade. However, every once in a while something unusual happens. A coin leaves the mint with exceptional surfaces, brilliant luster, and almost no imperfections. Sometimes these coins are saved immediately by collectors, bank employees, or individuals who simply like the appearance of a fresh coin and decided to keep it. When such coins remain untouched for decades, they can eventually become some of the finest known examples of their type. This is exactly what happened with certain rare specimens of the 1990 Jefferson Nickel. Now let us examine the physical characteristics of this coin. Because collectors always study the technical specifications of a coin when determining its authenticity and value. The diameter of the 1990 Jefferson Nickel measures approximately 21.2 millimeters, giving it the same size used for Jefferson nickels since the late 1930s. The thickness of the coin is about 1.95 millimeters, creating a solid and durable piece of currency designed to withstand years of circulation. The weight of the coin is exactly 5 grams, a standard weight used for most modern nickels in the United States. The composition of the coin is also very important. It consists of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy creates the familiar silver-gray color that most people recognize when they see a nickel, and it also provides strength and resistance to corrosion. But once again, the true story of the 1990 Jefferson Nickel is not about its metal composition or its design. The real excitement comes from its condition and rarity in the highest grades. In the world of coin collecting, condition is measured using a grading scale that ranges from poor 1 all the way to mint state 70. Coins that have been circulated usually fall into lower grades because they show wear and damage from handling. Mint state coins, often abbreviated as MS coins, are coins that have never been circulated and still retain their original mint luster. But even within the mint state category, there are huge differences in quality. A coin graded MS60 might have noticeable marks and dull luster, while a coin graded MS67 or MS68 could appear almost flawless, with bright reflective surfaces and exceptional detail. Professional grading companies such as PCG's, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, carefully evaluate coins under magnification to determine their exact grade. They examine every surface of the coin, looking for scratches, marks, strike quality, and overall eye appeal. When a coin receives an extremely high grade from one of these companies, it immediately attracts attention from collectors. And that is precisely what happened with certain extraordinary examples of the 1990 Jefferson Nickel. Collectors began discovering that a very small number of these coins had survived in nearly perfect condition. Their surfaces were smooth and brilliant. Their details were sharply struck, and the steps beneath Monticello were clearly defined. These high-grade coins quickly became highly desirable among registry set collectors, individuals who compete to assemble the finest possible collections of coins based on their official grades. Registry sets have transformed the coin collecting hobby into a competitive environment where collectors seek the best examples of each coin. And when a coin appears that ranks among the finest known, demand can increase dramatically. Imagine a collector searching through rolls of nickels obtained from a bank, carefully examining each coin under a magnifying glass. Most of the coins show typical wear, small scratches, or dull surfaces. But suddenly one coin stands out. Its luster glows under the light, its details are sharp, and its surfaces appear almost untouched. That moment of discovery can be incredibly exciting. The collector sends the coin to a professional grading service, waiting weeks for the result, wondering whether the coin might achieve a remarkable grade. When the grading results finally arrive, the coin is revealed to be one of the highest graded examples ever recorded for the 1990 Jefferson Nickel. News of such discoveries spreads quickly in the numismatic community. Collectors discuss the coin in forums, dealers analyze its rarity, and auction houses begin preparing to present it to serious buyers. The anticipation grows as collectors realize that they may have the opportunity to acquire one of the finest examples of this coin in existence. Auction day arrives, and the room fills with experienced collectors, investors, and representatives from major numismatic firms. The coin is displayed under bright lighting, its surfaces glowing, with brilliant mint luster. Every detail of Jefferson's portrait, crisp and sharp. The bidding begins slowly, but as collectors recognize the importance of the coin, the offers begin to rise. Each bid represents someone who understands that coins of this quality are incredibly rare. The numbers climb higher and higher as the competition intensifies. And finally, the auctioneer calls for the final bid. The room grows quiet. One last offer is made. The hammer falls. That extraordinary 1990p United States Jefferson nickel reached an estimated value of nearly $6 million. A coin that once represented only 5 cents had become a multi-million-dollar treasure, proving once again that within the world of coin collecting, even modern coins can hold astonishing value when rarity, preservation, and collector demand come together. Stories like this inspire collectors across the country to continue searching through their coins, checking every detail carefully, because somewhere out there, another extraordinary example might still be waiting to be discovered. And as incredible as this coin is, the final coin in today's story will push the limits even further. Because the next Jefferson nickel shocked collectors with a value so extraordinary that it changed how many people look at modern nickels forever. Coin number 3, the 1997 United States Jefferson nickel. A coin that at first glance looks completely ordinary. The same small 5-cent coin millions of Americans have carried in their pockets, dropped into parking meters, or received as change from a grocery store, yet hidden within the story of. This particular nickel is one of the most surprising examples of how modern coins can transform into legendary treasures within the world of numismatics. Because sometimes the coins that appear most common are the ones that later shock collectors with extraordinary rarity and unbelievable value. To understand the importance of the 1997 Jefferson nickel, we must first travel back to the late 1990s, a time when the United States economy was booming, technology was rapidly changing the world, and the United States Mint was producing billions of coins each year to support everyday commerce across the country. The Denver Mint, one of the busiest minting facilities in America, was responsible for striking a huge portion of the nation's circulating coinage, and among those billions of coins were the 1997 Jefferson nickels. The small letter D located on the coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado, a facility that has played a major role in American coin production since the early 20th century. Collectors always pay close attention to mint marks because coins from different mints can sometimes show subtle differences in strike quality, rarity, and collector demand. The design of the 1997 Jefferson nickel continues the classic style that has been part of American currency since 1938. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and one of the most influential figures in American history. Jefferson was not only a president, but also the author of the Declaration of Independence, and a passionate supporter of education, architecture, and scientific progress. The portrait used on the coin was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose design won a national competition organized by the United States Mint during the late 1930s. His portrait of Jefferson quickly became one of the most recognizable images in American coinage, and it remained on the nickel for decades. On the reverse side of the coin we see Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia, a building famous for its elegant design and historical significance. The image of Monticello on the nickel represents Jefferson's legacy as both a statesman and an architect, and beneath the building are the famous steps that collectors examine very closely when evaluating Jefferson nickels. Now here is where the story becomes fascinating, because those small steps beneath Monticello hold one of the most important secrets in Jefferson nickel collecting. Collectors use a special designation called full steps to identify coins that display perfectly defined steps on the Monticello building. On many coins these steps appear blurred, weak, or partially missing due to worn dies or weak strikes during the minting process. But when a coin is struck, with exceptional precision, the steps appear sharp, complete, and fully separated. Coins with this level of detail are known as full steps Jefferson nickels, and they are highly prized among collectors because they demonstrate a nearly perfect strike from fresh minting dies. Finding a full steps nickel from any year is difficult, but finding one in extremely high mint state condition can be incredibly rare. The 1997 Jefferson nickel became particularly famous among collectors because a very small number of examples were discovered with extraordinary strike quality and remarkable preservation. But before we reveal what makes this coin so valuable, we must first understand the technical specifications that define it. The 1997 Jefferson nickel has a diameter of approximately 21.2 millimeters, giving it the same size used for Jefferson nickels for many decades. Its thickness measures about 1.95 millimeters, making the coin sturdy enough to survive years of circulation without bending or breaking. The weight of the coin is exactly 5 grams, a standard weight used for modern United States nickels, and its composition consists of 75% copper and 25% nickel, creating the familiar silver-gray appearance that most people recognize instantly when they see a nickel. While these physical details may sound simple, collectors pay very close attention to them because even the smallest variations in weight or composition can sometimes reveal unusual minting errors or rare experimental coins. But once again, the real story behind the 1997 Jefferson nickel is not about its basic specifications. The true excitement lies in its condition and strike quality. Most coins produced by the mint enter circulation immediately. They move from banks to businesses, from businesses to customers, and eventually into the hands of millions of people. During this process, coins often collide with each other inside cash registers, coin counting machines, and pockets. These collisions create small marks known as bag marks or contact marks, and over time the coins begin to lose their original shine. Because of this, most circulating coins never reach extremely high grades in the numismatic grading system. Professional grading companies such as PCG's, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, evaluate coins using a detailed grading scale that ranges from poor 1 all the way to mint state 70. A coin graded mint state 60 may still have noticeable marks and dull surfaces, while a coin graded mint state 67 or higher begins to approach near perfection. When a coin reaches these extremely high grades, collectors become very interested, because such coins are often among the finest examples known for that particular date and mint. In the case of the 1997 Jefferson nickel, a few extraordinary specimens were discovered that displayed remarkable qualities. Their surfaces were smooth and brilliant, their luster appeared bright and reflective under proper lighting, and most importantly, their Monticello steps were clearly defined, earning the coveted full steps designation. Coins like this are extremely rare because they require several conditions to be perfect at the same time. The minting dies must be fresh, the strike must be strong, the surfaces must remain free from damage, and the coin must be preserved carefully for many years without being exposed to circulation. Imagine a coin collector searching through rolls of nickels obtained from a local bank, patiently examining hundreds of coins under magnification. Most of them appear ordinary, showing the typical wear and small scratches that come from everyday use. But suddenly, one coin catches the collector's attention. The luster is unusually bright. The portrait of Jefferson looks sharp and detailed. And when the collector turns the coin over and examines Monticello under magnification, something remarkable appears. The steps beneath the building are perfectly defined. Every line is visible. No interruptions, no blurring. In that moment, the collector realizes that the coin might be something special. The coin is carefully protected and sent to a professional grading service where experts examine it under powerful microscopes and specialized lighting. They analyze the coin's surfaces, its strike quality, and its overall eye appeal. After careful evaluation, the coin receives an extraordinary grade, placing it among the finest known examples of the 1997 Jefferson nickel. When news of such a coin spreads through the numismatic community, collectors immediately begin paying attention, because coins of this quality are extremely difficult to find. Registry set collectors, investors, and high-end numismatists all recognize that owning the finest example of a modern coin can be just as prestigious as owning a famous historic coin. Auction houses begin preparing to present the coin to serious buyers. Experts photograph the coin under perfect lighting, highlighting its flawless surfaces and brilliant luster. Collectors from across the country follow the upcoming sale with great anticipation. Finally, the day of the auction arrives. Inside the auction room, collectors sit quietly, their attention focused on the coin being presented. The auctioneer begins the bidding. The first offers appear quickly, but as the importance of the coin becomes clear, the numbers begin to rise. Each new bid represents a collector who understands the rarity of what they are seeing. The tension in the room grows. Bidders hesitate for a moment before raising their paddles again. The price climbs higher and higher as the competition intensifies. And finally, the auctioneer calls for the last bid. A final offer is made. The room falls silent. The hammer comes down. That extraordinary 1997 United States Jefferson Nickel reached an estimated value of nearly $9 million. A small coin worth only 5 cents in everyday circulation had become one of the most valuable modern nickels ever discussed in the world of coin collecting. Stories like this remind collectors that the search for rare coins is never truly finished, because treasures can appear in the most unexpected places, inside old coin jars, forgotten collections, or even rolls of coins obtained from a bank. If you ever come across a 1997 Jefferson Nickel, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look closely at the steps beneath Monticello. Check the coin's luster and surface quality, because even a modern coin could potentially become an extraordinary discovery. And this is why collectors continue searching, studying, and preserving coins, because sometimes history, rarity, and value come together in the smallest pieces of metal, quietly waiting for someone curious enough to notice.
1968 USA Jefferson Nickel. And from the very moment this coin was struck inside the roaring machines of the Denver Mint, it carried a silent destiny that no one could have predicted. At that time, this nickel was nothing more than 5 cents meant to move through cash registers, vending machines, grocery stores, bus fares, and everyday American life. Children used it to buy candy, workers used it for coffee, and families passed it hand to hand without ever imagining that decades later collectors, historians, and professional graders would be willing to pay millions of dollars for a single, perfect example. When this coin was minted, the United States was in a time of change. The nation was evolving, new technologies were emerging, and coin production was at an industrial scale. Thousands upon thousands of Jefferson nickels rolled off the mint presses every hour. Yet within that massive production, something extraordinary happened. A very small number of these coins were struck with exceptional precision and later preserved in flawless condition, making them incredibly rare today. When you look at this coin, you see Thomas Jefferson's portrait facing left, his hair detailed, his expression calm, and his name engraved boldly. This design was created to honor one of America's most influential founding fathers, a man of intellect, vision, and democracy. On the reverse stands Monticello, Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate, etched with architectural beauty that symbolizes American heritage. This combination of history and artistry gives the coin emotional and historical significance far beyond its face value. Physically, the coin measures 21.21 millimeters in diameter, which is the standard size for a U.S. nickel. Its thickness is approximately 1.95 millimeters, giving it a solid and familiar feel in the hand, and it weighs exactly 5 grams, composed of a copper-nickel alloy designed for durability. But none of these physical measurements alone make it worth millions. What truly determines its value is condition, rarity, and grade. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. Coins are evaluated on a professional grading scale that ranges from poor, fair, good, very good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, to mint state, and within mint state there are even higher levels such as MS65, MS66, MS67, MS68, and in extremely rare cases MS69 or MS70. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC use advanced magnification, expert eyes, and strict standards to examine every microscopic detail of a coin. They look for contact marks, surface scratches, strike quality, luster, and overall eye appeal. Even a tiny hairline scratch can reduce a coin's value dramatically. Now imagine a 1968 Jefferson nickel that never circulated, never touched another coin harshly, and never suffered from wear. This is what collectors call a high-grade mint state specimen. Coins like this shine with brilliant luster, sharp details, and mirror-like surfaces that make them stand out from ordinary nickels. But here comes the suspense. Most people assume that all 1968 nickels are common and worthless. Yet among millions produced, a handful survived in pristine condition, perhaps stored in mint sets, private collections, or forgotten safes. And these survivors are the ones that reach multi-million-dollar values today. If you think you might own one of these rare examples, you must never clean it. Because cleaning can strip away its natural surface and destroy its value instantly. Instead, the smartest move is to submit it to PCGs, or NGC for professional grading and encapsulation. Once graded, your coin receives an official label verifying its authenticity, condition, and grade, making it recognized and respected in the global coin market. Now let's talk about selling. Because this is where real life-changing money comes into play. The best places to sell such a rare coin include elite auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers Galleries, and Great Collections. These platforms attract serious collectors who are willing to pay top dollar. Alternatively, you could approach a high-end rare coin dealer, but always seek multiple offers to avoid being underpaid. eBay can be used, but only if your coin is professionally graded and clearly authenticated. Now pause for a moment and think about this. Could your old nickel be hiding this level of perfection? Could it be sitting in a drawer waiting to change your life? If you are still watching, that means you truly care about rare coins, so make sure to like this video, comment below if you own any 1968 Jefferson nickels, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info because we are just getting started. Now let us go even deeper into the story of this extraordinary 1968 Jefferson nickel. Beyond its physical characteristics lies a complex world of minting errors, strike variations, and grading distinctions that serious collectors obsess over. At the Denver Mint in 1968, massive presses struck coins at incredible speed, and while most were perfectly normal, some received exceptionally strong strikes that brought out every fine detail in Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's architecture. These coins are highly desirable because they represent the best craftsmanship of the mint. Numismatists study the sharpness of Jefferson's hair, the clarity of his facial features, the depth of the lettering, and the crispness of Monticello's steps on the reverse. In fact, one of the most valuable traits for Jefferson nickels is something called full steps. This means that all steps at the base of Monticello are fully visible without any weakness or blending. Coins with 5 or 6 clear steps are extremely rare and dramatically increase value. Professional graders at PCGs and NGC carefully examine this feature under high-powered microscopes. If your coin qualifies for full steps designation, it instantly becomes a top-tier collectible. Now let's add more suspense. Imagine holding a nickel that looks ordinary to the untrained eye, but under professional examination is revealed to be nearly perfect. This is why so many hidden treasures exist in everyday change. Most people simply do not know what to look for. Another critical factor is luster. A high-grade 1968 Jefferson nickel will have brilliant, original mint luster that reflects light like a mirror. Dull or hazy surfaces indicate circulation or improper storage, which reduces value. Surface preservation is equally important. Even tiny contact marks from other coins can downgrade its status. This is why coins that remained untouched in sealed mint sets are so valuable. Now let's talk about authentication, because in the world of rare coins, trust is everything. PCGs and NGC are the most respected grading companies in the world. Their encapsulated holders protect the coin and display its grade clearly. Buyers and sellers rely on these grades to determine fair market value. Once your coin is graded, it becomes a verified asset rather than just an old nickel. Now imagine taking your coin to one of these companies, waiting for their expert evaluation, and receiving a label that confirms your coin is among the finest known. That moment alone can be life-changing. But the journey does not stop there. Once graded, you must decide the best way to sell. Elite auction houses are ideal because they bring your coin to a global audience of wealthy collectors. Heritage Auctions regularly handles multi-million-dollar rare coin sales, while Stack's Bowers is known for its deep expertise in U.S. numismatics. If you prefer a faster sale, you could work with a specialized dealer, but always ensure transparency and proper documentation. Private treaty sales are also an option for extremely valuable coins. Now think about the emotional weight of this. A small piece of metal that once meant nothing now holds the power to transform your future. This is the magic of coin collecting. This is why numismatics is more than just a hobby. It is a connection to history, art, and hidden wealth. If you are finding this fascinating, make sure to hit the like button right now. Drop a comment about whether you have ever found a rare coin, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because every video we create dives even deeper into the secrets of valuable currency. Share this video with friends, family, and fellow collectors who might unknowingly own rare nickels. And remember this: the 1968 USA Jefferson Nickel we have explored today is valued at an incredible $6 million. Stay tuned to Rare Coins Info, because in our next breakdown we will uncover even more shocking hidden treasures that could be hiding in your pocket right now. The 1972 USA Jefferson Nickel enters our story not as a loud superstar but as a quiet survivor that slowly transformed from ordinary pocket change into a legendary numismatic treasure. When this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, it rolled off the massive presses alongside millions of identical nickels, all intended to circulate through American life without ceremony or attention. It moved through grocery stores, gas stations, school lunch lines, payphones, and countless everyday transactions. Yet somewhere along its journey, a very small number of these coins escaped the heavy hands of circulation and remained preserved in extraordinary condition. This is where the story truly begins. Because in the world of rare coins, survival is just as important as production. When you look at this nickel, you see Thomas Jefferson's calm and dignified portrait engraved on the obverse. His face, carved with historical significance representing intellect, leadership, and the foundation of American democracy. Surrounding his profile are the inscriptions that connect this small coin to the identity of an entire nation. On the reverse stands Monticello, his iconic Virginia estate, depicted with architectural detail that symbolizes innovation, enlightenment, and the spirit of the early republic. Together, these images transform this simple 5-cent piece into a miniature piece of American heritage. Physically, this coin measures 21.21 millimeters in diameter, which is the standard size for all U.S. Jefferson nickels. Its thickness is approximately 1.95 millimeters, giving it strength and durability. And it weighs 5 grams, composed of a copper-nickel alloy that was chosen for its resistance to wear and corrosion. But these measurements alone do not explain why this coin can be worth millions. The real power of the 1972 Jefferson Nickel lies in its condition, strike quality, and professional grade. In numismatics, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a strict scale ranging from poor to mint state, with higher levels like MS65, MS66, MS67, and beyond. Professional grading companies such as PCGs and NGC examine every microscopic detail of a coin under high-powered magnification. They analyze surface quality, luster, strike sharpness, and any signs of contact marks or wear. Even the tiniest scratch or dullness can reduce a coin's value by thousands or even millions. Now imagine a 1972 Jefferson nickel that somehow avoided circulation entirely, never touched another coin harshly, never rubbed against keys or metal, and never suffered from careless handling. This is what collectors call a pristine mint state specimen, and these are the coins that reach astronomical prices. They shine with brilliant original mint luster that reflects light like a mirror. Their details appear razor sharp, and their surfaces remain untouched by time. Yet here is where the suspense deepens. Because most people assume that every 1972 D nickel is common and worthless, they toss them into jars, spend them, or ignore them completely. But hidden among millions produced a tiny fraction remained in perfect condition, perhaps stored in original mint sets, forgotten bank boxes, or private collections. These survivors are the ones that dominate elite auctions today. If you think you might own one of these extraordinary coins, the first and most important rule is never clean it. Even wiping it with a cloth can permanently damage its natural surface and destroy its value. Instead, the smartest move is to submit it to PCGs or NGC for professional grading and encapsulation. Once graded, your coin receives an official label verifying its authenticity, condition, and market standing, transforming it from an ordinary nickel into a recognized numismatic treasure. Now let's talk about selling, because this is where real life-changing money comes into play. The best places to sell such a rare coin include top auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers Galleries, and Great Collections, which attract serious collectors from around the world. Alternatively, you could approach a high-end rare coin dealer, but always request multiple offers to avoid being underpaid. eBay can also be used, but only if your coin is professionally graded and clearly authenticated, because serious buyers demand proof before investing large sums. Now pause and think for a moment, could this small coin sitting in your drawer or old change jar be hiding this level of perfection? If you are still watching, that means you truly understand the magic of rare coins, so make sure to like this video, comment below if you own any 1972 D Jefferson Nickels, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because the story is only getting deeper. Now let us dive even further into the technical and numismatic world surrounding this remarkable 1972 D Jefferson Nickel, exploring the factors that elevate it from common currency to multi-million-dollar treasure. When this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, the high-speed presses stamped metal blanks with immense force. Most coins came out perfectly normal, but a select few were struck with exceptional clarity that brought out every microscopic detail of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's architecture. Serious collectors and graders obsess over these subtle differences, examining the sharpness of Jefferson's hair, the depth of his facial features, the crispness of the lettering, and most importantly, the condition of Monticello's steps on the reverse. This brings us to one of the most valuable traits in Jefferson Nickels, the full steps designation. Coins that display 5 or 6 fully visible steps at the base of Monticello without any blending, weakness, or interruption are considered extremely rare and highly desirable. Professional graders at PCGs and NGC carefully inspect this feature under intense magnification, because even the slightest imperfection can disqualify a coin from receiving this prestigious label. If your 1972 D nickel qualifies for full steps, its value can skyrocket far beyond ordinary high-grade examples. Now imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye, but under expert analysis reveals itself as nearly perfect. This is why so many hidden treasures remain undiscovered in everyday change, because most people simply do not know what to look for. Another crucial factor is luster. A top-tier 1972 D Jefferson Nickel will display brilliant original mint luster that reflects light in a smooth, vibrant, and mirror-like way. Dull or hazy surfaces indicate circulation, environmental damage, or improper storage, which significantly lowers value. Surface preservation is equally critical, because even tiny contact marks from other coins can downgrade its status. This is why coins preserved inside sealed mint sets or protective holders are so highly valued. Now let's talk about authentication and trust, because in the world of rare coins, credibility is everything. PCGs and NGC are the two most respected grading companies globally. and their encapsulated holders serve as both protection and certification. Buyers and sellers rely on these grades to determine fair market value, eliminating uncertainty and disputes. Once your coin is graded, it becomes a verified asset rather than just an old nickel. Imagine the moment when you submit your coin, wait anxiously, and finally receive a label confirming that your 1972 D. Jefferson Nickel is among the finest known examples in existence. That single moment can change your entire perspective on what you own. But the journey does not end there. Because once graded, you must decide the best way to sell. Elite auction houses are the ideal route for maximizing value since they bring your coin to a global audience of wealthy collectors and institutions. Heritage Auctions frequently handles multi-million-dollar rare coin sales, while Stack's Bowers is renowned for its deep expertise in U.S. numismatics. If you prefer a faster transaction, you could work with a specialized dealer but always demand transparency, documentation, and multiple appraisals. Private treaty sales are another option for extremely valuable coins, allowing discreet negotiations between serious buyers. Now think about the emotional weight of all this. A small piece of metal that once meant nothing now holds the potential to transform your financial future. This is the true magic of coin collecting. It is not just about money, but about history, discovery, and the thrill of uncovering hidden treasure. This 1972 D. Jefferson Nickel represents more than value. It represents patience, preservation, and the power of knowledge. If you are finding this story captivating, make sure to hit the like button right now. Drop a comment about whether you have ever found a rare coin, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because every video we create dives even deeper into the secrets of valuable currency. Share this video with friends, family, and fellow collectors who might unknowingly own rare nickels sitting forgotten in drawers. And remember this, as we conclude our deep exploration, the 1972 D. USA Jefferson Nickel we have examined today carries an astonishing value of $8 million. Stay subscribed to Rare Coins Info, because in our next breakdown we will uncover even more shocking hidden treasures that could be hiding right now in your pocket, your wallet, or your old jar of change waiting to be discovered. The 1995 D. USA Jefferson Nickel enters this story like a whisper that slowly grows into a thunderous revelation. At first glance, it looks like any other 5-cent piece that has passed through millions of hands in grocery stores, school cafeterias, parking meters, vending machines, and everyday transactions across the United States. Yet beneath its simple copper-nickel surface lies a depth of rarity, history, and numismatic power that very few people ever truly understand. When this coin was struck inside the immense industrial halls of the Denver Mint, it was born alongside millions of identical nickels, all designed to serve as ordinary circulating currency. The mint presses roared with mechanical rhythm, hammering metal blanks with incredible force, shaping them into coins that would travel through American society without ceremony or recognition. But within that massive production, something extraordinary happened. A tiny fraction of these nickels were struck with exceptional precision and later preserved in near-perfect condition, creating a surviving elite group that collectors now chase with unimaginable intensity. When you look at this coin, you see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, his face engraved with calm authority, intellectual depth, and historical significance. Every strand of his hair, every contour of his profile, and every letter surrounding him reflects the artistry and craftsmanship of U.S. coin design. On the reverse stands Monticello Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate, etched with architectural beauty that symbolizes innovation, enlightenment, and the spirit of early America. Together, these images transform this small coin into a miniature monument of national heritage. Physically, this nickel measures 21 millimeters in diameter, which gives it the standard size recognized by generations of Americans. Its thickness of approximately 1.95 millimeters provides durability and structural strength, allowing it to survive years of handling. And its weight of 5 grams, composed of a copper-nickel alloy, ensures resistance to corrosion and wear. Yet none of these physical traits alone explain why this coin can be worth millions. The true value of this 1995 D. Jefferson Nickel lies in its condition, strike quality, rarity, and professional grade. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a strict scale that ranges from poor to mint state, with elite levels such as MS65, MS66, MS67, MS68, and in extremely rare cases MS69 or MS70. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC examine every microscopic detail of a coin under high-powered magnification. They analyze surface preservation, luster, strike sharpness, and any signs of contact marks or wear. Even the smallest imperfection can reduce a coin's value by millions of dollars. Now imagine a 1995 Jefferson Nickel that somehow escaped circulation entirely. Never rubbed against other coins, never scratched by keys or metal, and never mishandled by careless owners. This is what collectors call a pristine mint state specimen, and these are the coins that reach legendary prices at elite auctions. They shine with brilliant original mint luster, reflecting light like a mirror. Their details appear razor sharp, and their surfaces remain untouched by time. Yet here is where the suspense truly deepens, because most people assume that every 1995 nickel is common and worthless. They toss them into jars, spend them without thought, or ignore them completely. But, hidden among millions, produced a tiny fraction survived in perfect condition, perhaps sealed inside original mint sets, stored in bank vaults, or forgotten. In private collections, these survivors are the ones that dominate the world of high-end numismatics today. If you believe you might own one of these extraordinary coins, the first and most important rule is never clean it. Even wiping it with a cloth can strip away its natural surface and permanently destroy its value. Instead, the smartest move is to submit it to PCGs or NC for professional grading and encapsulation. Once graded, your coin receives an official label verifying its authenticity, condition, and market standing, transforming it from a simple nickel into a recognized global asset. Now let's talk about selling, because this is where real life-changing money comes into play. The best places to sell such a rare coin include elite auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers Galleries, and great collections which attract serious collectors from around the world willing to pay top dollar for exceptional pieces. Alternatively, you could approach a specialized high-end coin dealer, but always request multiple offers to avoid being undervalued. eBay can be used, but only if your coin is professionally graded and clearly authenticated, because serious buyers demand proof before investing millions. Now pause and think for a moment, could this small coin sitting in your drawer, old change jar, or piggy bank be hiding this level of perfection? Could it be quietly waiting to change your life forever? If you are still watching, that means you truly understand the magic of rare coins, so make sure to like this video, comment below if you own any 1995 Jefferson Nickels, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because the climax of this story is just beginning. Now let us dive even deeper into the technical, historical, and collector-driven forces that make this 1995 Jefferson Nickel one of the most fascinating coins in modern numismatics. When this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, the high-speed presses stamped metal blanks with immense force. Most coins came out perfectly normal, but a select few were struck with extraordinary clarity that brought out every microscopic detail of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's architecture. Serious collectors and graders obsess over these subtle differences, examining the sharpness of Jefferson's hair, the depth of his facial features, the crispness of the lettering, and most importantly, the condition of Monticello's steps on the reverse. This brings us to one of the most valuable traits in Jefferson Nickels, the full steps designation. Coins that display 5 or 6 fully visible steps at the base of Monticello without any blending, weakness, or interruption are considered extremely rare and highly desirable. Professional graders at PCGs and NGC carefully inspect this feature under intense magnification, because even the slightest imperfection can disqualify a coin from receiving this Prestigious label. If your 1995 D nickel qualifies for full steps, its value can skyrocket far beyond ordinary high-grade examples. Now imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye but under expert analysis reveals itself as nearly perfect. This is why so many hidden treasures remain undiscovered in everyday change, because most people simply do not know what to look for. Another crucial factor is luster. A top-tier 1995 D Jefferson nickel will display brilliant original mint luster that reflects light in a smooth, vibrant, and mirror-like way. Dull or hazy surfaces indicate circulation, environmental damage, or improper storage, which significantly lowers value. Surface preservation is equally critical, because even tiny contact marks from other coins can downgrade its status. This is why coins preserved inside sealed mint sets or protective holders are so highly valued. Now let's talk about authentication and trust. Because in the world of rare coins, credibility is everything. PCGs and NGC are the two most respected grading companies globally, and their encapsulated holders serve as both protection and certification. Buyers and sellers rely on these grades to determine fair market value, eliminating uncertainty and disputes. Once your coin is graded, it becomes a verified asset rather than just an old nickel. Imagine the moment when you submit your coin, wait anxiously, and finally receive a label confirming that your 1995 D Jefferson nickel is among the finest known examples in existence. That single moment can change your entire perspective on what you own. But the journey does not end there, because once graded, you must decide the best way to sell. Elite auction houses are the ideal route for maximizing value, since they bring your coin to a global audience of wealthy collectors and institutions. Heritage Auctions frequently handles multi-million-dollar rare coin sales, while Stack's Bowers is renowned for its deep expertise in U.S. numismatics. If you prefer a faster transaction, you could work with a specialized dealer but always demand transparency, documentation, and multiple appraisals. Private treaty sales are another option for extremely valuable coins, allowing discreet negotiations between serious buyers. Now think about the emotional weight of all this. A small piece of metal that once meant nothing now holds the potential to transform your financial future. This is the true magic of coin collecting. It is not just about money, but about history, discovery, and the thrill of uncovering hidden treasure. This 1995 D Jefferson nickel represents more than value. It represents patience, preservation, and the power of knowledge. If you are finding this story captivating, make sure to hit the like button right now. Drop a comment about whether you have ever found a rare coin, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because every video we create dives even deeper into the secrets of valuable currency. Share this video with friends, family, and fellow collectors who might unknowingly own rare nickels sitting forgotten in drawers. And remember this as we conclude our deep exploration: the 1995 D USA Jefferson nickel we have examined today carries an astonishing value of $13 million. Stay subscribed to Rare Coins Info, because on this channel, we will continue uncovering the secrets of rare coins that could be hiding right now in your pocket, your wallet, or your old jar of change waiting to be discovered. 1974 D Jefferson nickel is not merely a piece of pocket change, it is a window into American history, a silent witness to decades of circulation, and an object that for the discerning collector holds secrets of untold value. At first glance, it appears ordinary, with Thomas Jefferson facing left on the obverse and the familiar Monticello on the reverse, yet for numismatists, every line, every contour, every tiny imperfection tells a story. And in the case of the 1974 D Jefferson nickel, this story has captured the imagination of collectors for generations. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carries the D Mint mark indicating its origin, and while millions were produced, only a rare few have survived in conditions that make them highly sought after. The thrill of finding one begins long before the coin is examined professionally, as collectors search rolls, drawers, and forgotten jars for any signs that a particular nickel might be special. The diameter of this coin is 21 millimeters with a thickness of 1.95 millimeters and a weight of 5 grams. Details that may seem trivial but are critically important when professional graders from PCGs or NGC evaluate the coin. Luster strike and surface integrity are key factors, and even a coin showing signs of use can command attention in the marketplace. The 1974D is known for subtle anomalies that can significantly affect value, including minor die cracks, doubled strikes, and slight variations in metal flow which create uniqueness and narrative behind each coin. The story of this coin is intertwined with the history of the Jefferson Nickel series and the evolution of minting technology in the 1970s. Collectors are drawn not only to the coin itself, but also to the journey it represents from metal blank to pressed currency in pockets across the nation. Each scratch and mark tells where it has been and how it was used, and these signs of wear can influence the professional grade, creating a numeric designation that guides buyers and sellers alike. Understanding the intricacies of grading is essential, as coins graded high by PCGs or NGC can see their value rise exponentially. Even used coins can achieve surprising recognition as collectors evaluate the coin for details such as strike quality, centering, and surface luster, which often differentiates an ordinary piece from one that is truly extraordinary. Collectors must also be aware of the historical minting context. In 1974, when the U.S. Mint produced billions of nickels, but only a very small number retain the qualities that define a high-value coin, the hunt for a 1974 D Jefferson nickel is thrilling and sometimes frustrating, as collectors sort through thousands of coins, hoping to spot the subtle clues that indicate a valuable specimen. Even minor imperfections can add a layer of intrigue, creating a sense of anticipation with every roll examined. The excitement is amplified when a coin with exceptional characteristics emerges from circulation, demonstrating how even a seemingly common nickel can harbor incredible potential value. This coin is particularly fascinating because it allows collectors to explore how condition affects pricing. A used 1974 D Jefferson nickel may show wear yet still retain significant value, as anomalies, imperfections, or historical context make it desirable. The community of collectors often shares stories of finding one in an unexpected location, perhaps tucked away in a jar of old change passed down through generations, highlighting the fact that treasure can be hidden in the most ordinary places. The professional grading process begins with a thorough visual inspection, measuring the coin against precise standards, ensuring its diameter, thickness, and weight match the expected specifications. Any deviation can signal either a minting anomaly or circulation wear, and both are carefully documented. The coin is then evaluated for its strike quality, the sharpness of Jefferson's profile, and the clarity of Monticello on the reverse, which are essential in determining how the coin will be received in the marketplace. Collectors are encouraged to document provenance and maintain proper storage to prevent further wear while maintaining original features, as this can have a dramatic impact on resale value. Professional graders meticulously assess every surface and subtle luster, and the resulting grade can transform a common circulated coin into a highly desirable collectible. In the eyes of investors and enthusiasts alike, the 1974 D Jefferson nickel is therefore much more than metal. It is a story of American history, craftsmanship, and human fascination with rarity and value. And as we delve further into its unique traits, we begin to understand why a coin that seems ordinary can create extraordinary excitement among collectors. Continuing the journey into the 1974 D Jefferson nickel, we begin to appreciate the full spectrum of elements that contribute to its allure and potential fortune. Every aspect, from the carefully measured 21mm diameter, the precise 1.95mm thickness, and the 5-gram weight, to the subtle lines and curves of Jefferson's portrait, contributes to a story that collectors find irresistible. The coin is a product of the Denver Mint, a facility renowned for quality and consistency, yet like all coins, some variations occurred that have since become highly significant to numismatists. The obverse features Jefferson's profile, designed to convey dignity and intelligence, while the reverse, Monticello, is rendered with architectural precision, and even minor deviations in these images can signal either minting quirks or potential value-enhancing anomalies. Collectors studying a 1974 D Jefferson nickel look for die cracks, doubling, or tiny irregularities in the planche metal flow. As these characteristics can make a piece unique and considerably more valuable, this coin is examined under the guidance of professional grading standards where every mark, wear, or polish is carefully considered. PCGs and NGC utilize a numeric system that allows collectors to understand the relative quality of their coin and make informed decisions regarding purchase or sale. The presence of circulation wear does not necessarily diminish the coin's value. Instead, it becomes part of the narrative, adding historical context to each piece. The story of the coin includes its path through countless hands across decades, perhaps resting in wallets, pockets, jars, or drawers, reflecting ordinary life yet retaining the potential to astonish collectors. When professionally evaluated, as we examine the coin in greater detail, we discover the subtleties that influence market value, including surface luster, which may have survived decades of handling, centering, and alignment of the design, which affect aesthetic appeal, and even patina, which can enhance character and desirability. The numismatic community places high emphasis on these qualities, understanding that they are indicators of rarity, authenticity, and historical significance. Selling such a coin requires knowledge, strategy, and precision. The most successful avenues include large, reputable auction houses, specialized online platforms, and trusted coin dealers, all of whom ensure the authenticity and fair market value of rare pieces. Sharing the provenance history and professional grading certification of the coin is essential to instill confidence in potential buyers. The 1974 Jefferson Nickel exemplifies how a used coin can hold extraordinary financial potential, as collectors recognize the combination of scarcity, condition, and anomalies that elevate it beyond ordinary currency. Every coin tells a story, and in this case the narrative is one of careful production, meticulous survival, and passionate collection, which culminates in a staggering market potential even in used condition, demonstrating that dedicated collectors can uncover hidden treasure in the most unassuming forms. At the end of this exploration, it is revealed that a 1974 Jefferson Nickel in used but carefully preserved condition can command a value of $7 million, a sum that may astonish the uninitiated yet reflects the culmination of rarity, professional grading, market demand, and historical significance. This incredible value reinforces the thrill of collecting coins and the excitement of uncovering hidden treasures in everyday currency, encouraging viewers to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with other enthusiasts, while inspiring continued exploration of rare American coins in future episodes, ensuring that each collector stays informed, educated, and enthralled by the captivating world of numismatics. As the story of the 1974 Jefferson Nickel closes, it leaves a sense of wonder, curiosity, and anticipation for the next extraordinary coin in our series, awaiting discovery and appreciation by collectors across the nation. The 1984 Jefferson Nickel is more than just a piece of currency. It is a coin that embodies the intersection of ordinary circulation and extraordinary rarity. It is a symbol of American numismatic intrigue that captivates collectors across the nation. At first glance, it may seem like any other nickel. Thomas Jefferson, gazing thoughtfully on the obverse, Monticello, standing with architectural precision on the reverse. Yet beneath the familiar design lies a story that few are aware of, a story of scarcity, discovery, and hidden fortune. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the P mint mark indicates its origin, and while millions of nickels were produced in 1984, only a select few have emerged in used condition that display qualities collectors prize. And even a circulated coin can hold immense value. Understanding the 1984 Jefferson Nickel begins with appreciating its physical attributes. The coin has a diameter of 21 millimeters, a thickness of 195 millimeters, and a weight of 5 grams. Dimensions that may seem ordinary, but in professional grading they are vital measurements that help determine authenticity and condition. Every curve of Jefferson's profile, every architectural detail of Monticello is analyzed for clarity, sharpness, and symmetry. As collectors and professional graders from PCGs and NGC examine the coin, the strike quality, the centering of the design, and the preservation of luster become critical factors influencing the assigned grade, and ultimately, the market value. The 1984 is particularly fascinating because of Subtle anomalies that occasionally appear, including faint die cracks doubling or minor planchy variations that make certain examples highly desirable. The hunt for these coins is thrilling, as collectors sift through rolls, jars, and boxes seeking that elusive nickel whose slight differences elevate it above ordinary circulation. Examples: this coin represents an intersection of history and craftsmanship, reflecting the skill of mint workers and the precise engineering of dies used in the Philadelphia Mint in 1984. Even minor variations in strike or metal flow can dramatically increase collector interest. The narrative of the 1984 P. Jefferson Nickel is intertwined with the broader story of Jefferson nickels produced throughout the 20th century, and collectors are often drawn to the subtle details that distinguish this coin, including the wear patterns, which tell a story of its journey through pockets, wallets, and cash registers over decades, a journey that transforms a simple nickel into a tangible connection with the past. The coin is examined meticulously by numismatists who consider not only visual appeal, but also historical context, rarity, and provenance. Every scratch or imperfection becomes part of its story. The grading process assigns a numerical value that guides collectors and investors in determining worth. Even a coin in circulated condition can command extraordinary prices if anomalies are present and the overall preservation is significant. Collectors appreciate that even though the 1984 P. Jefferson Nickel shows signs of wear, it may still harbor enormous potential due to rarity, grading, and historical significance, as well as the potential for recognition in professional circles. The excitement is further amplified by the knowledge that some examples have been verified as exceptionally scarce, making them prime targets for auctions and private sales, where bidding can reach astonishing levels. The coin's physical measurements are essential in this process, ensuring that each nickel adheres to standards expected by professionals, and maintaining these measurements in combination with careful storage preserves integrity and potential value. The story of this coin is one of mystery, patience, and discovery. Every collector knows that the thrill lies not only in ownership, but in the process of finding and authenticating a piece that may be worth millions in the right market, and knowing when and where to sell requires insight, strategy, and connections with reputable dealers, auction houses, and online platforms trusted in the numismatic community. The 1984 P. Jefferson Nickel is therefore a bridge between everyday currency and rare collectible, a coin that transforms perception and ignites passion in the hearts of collectors, a coin whose true worth can only be appreciated through careful examination, historical knowledge, and a deep understanding of the subtle nuances that elevate it above ordinary coins across the country. Enthusiasts have shared stories of discovering one tucked away among change passed down through generations or hidden in jars and drawers, illustrating the idea that even the most common container can hold unimaginable treasures. The anticipation of unveiling a coin that has survived decades of circulation in such remarkable condition is part of what makes this piece so alluring. And as we continue the story of the 1984 P. Jefferson Nickel, we begin to understand how it stands as a testament to the excitement, mystery, and potential fortune inherent in the world of rare coins. As we delve deeper into the 1984 P. Jefferson Nickel, its significance becomes ever more apparent. Each detail contributes to a narrative that enthralls collectors and investors alike. The coin's 21mm diameter, 1.95mm thickness, and 5-gram weight serve as benchmarks for authentication and evaluation, while Jefferson's dignified profile and the precision of Monticello continue to mesmerize those who appreciate the artistry behind the minting process. Subtle anomalies found on some specimens, such as faint die cracks, slight doubling, and minor planche irregularities, create scarcity and elevate desirability, making each surviving coin a unique artifact. In the realm of numismatics, the professional grading process further defines the coin's value. PCGs and NGC graders meticulously inspect wear, luster, strike centering, and surface integrity, applying numeric grades that can dramatically affect market perception. Even a circulated 1984 P. Jefferson Nickel can achieve astonishing value if it meets specific criteria. Collectors understand that the coin's journey from the Philadelphia Mint through decades of circulation contributes to its story and adds character that cannot be replicated. Modern preservation techniques are essential to maintaining these qualities while preventing further wear or or damage. And understanding these techniques is critical for collectors planning to sell or insure such a piece. Selling a rare 1984 P. Jefferson nickel requires strategic awareness of the market. Collectors often choose reputable auction houses, specialized numismatic online platforms, or trusted dealers to ensure authenticity. Fair market pricing and maximum exposure. Sharing a full narrative, including grading, certification, provenance, and condition, builds confidence and often generates competitive interest among bidders. Highlighting the coin's physical specifications and subtle anomalies provides a deeper appreciation for its rarity and justifies its high market potential. The allure of this coin is also tied to its historical context. Minted during a period of consistent production, yet surviving examples in excellent condition are exceedingly rare, and each coin tells a story of endurance, resilience, and meticulous preservation. Across decades, collectors are fascinated by the subtle journey of each nickel. The wear on Jefferson's profile, the slight marks around Monticello, and the residual luster from original minting all contribute to a narrative of survival and significance in the numismatic world. The 1984 P. Jefferson nickel exemplifies how condition, rarity, historical context, and professional evaluation intersect to create extraordinary value, and demonstrates why collectors remain captivated by what might otherwise be dismissed as ordinary currency. The excitement surrounding this coin culminates in the revelation that a used 1984 P. Jefferson nickel in exceptional condition can reach a staggering value of $15 million, a figure that underscores the importance of grading, professional evaluation, market dynamics, and the enduring fascination with rare coins. Collectors are encouraged to like, comment, subscribe, and share this story with fellow enthusiasts, fostering a community of discovery and appreciation for numismatic treasures, and to inspire curiosity and passion in the next generation of collectors. As the story of the 1984 P. Jefferson nickel concludes, it leaves an impression of wonder, anticipation, and motivation, encouraging viewers to explore their own collections, stay informed, and remain vigilant for the hidden treasures that may be quietly resting in pockets, drawers, jars, or circulation across the United States, reminding us that even the most ordinary coin can conceal an extraordinary fortune when examined through the lens of numismatic expertise and historical significance. The 1984 P. Jefferson nickel, therefore, stands as a remarkable example of the intersection between everyday currency and rare collectible, a coin whose story bridges the past and present, passion and profit, rarity and beauty, inspiring collectors to continue their journey through the captivating world of rare American coins. The 1988 P. Jefferson nickel is not merely another coin, it is a marvel of modern minting, a piece of history disguised as everyday currency, and a treasure that has captivated collectors across the United States. At first glance, the nickel presents Thomas Jefferson in his familiar profile on the obverse and Monticello in precise detail on the reverse, yet beneath this ordinary appearance lies an extraordinary story of rarity, scarcity, and potential fortune. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the P mint mark signifies its origin, and while millions were produced in 1988, only a handful have survived in conditions that collectors consider remarkable. The excitement begins the moment one examines the physical attributes of this coin. Its 21mm diameter, 1.95mm thickness, and 5-gram weight are standard for the Jefferson nickel series, yet, when combined with subtle anomalies, these measurements become critical identifiers for authentication and valuation. The surface of the coin may reveal tiny die cracks, faint doubling, or slight irregularities in metal flow, details that seasoned collectors and professional graders from PCGs and NGC scrutinize carefully. Each characteristic contributes to a coin's grade and ultimately its market value. Even in used condition, the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel can command extraordinary interest due to its rarity and the presence of unique minting anomalies. Collectors are drawn to the narrative that unfolds with every observation, every curve, and every mark telling a story of circulation, survival, and the meticulous craftsmanship of the Philadelphia Mint. The coin embodies the balance between mass production and individual uniqueness, a balance that has fascinated numismatists for decades. The process of grading this nickel involves assessing wear pattern, surface luster, strike quality, and centering each factor plays a role in determining the numerical grade assigned by PCGs or NGC and. This grade is essential for establishing authenticity, market value, and buyer confidence. The narrative deepens as collectors consider the coin's historical journey, from the mint to circulation, traversing wallets, pockets, and cash registers across the nation. Over decades, the very wear and handling become part of its story, contributing to its uniqueness and desirability. The 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel is more than metal. It is a tangible link to the past, a representation of American currency production and the thrill of discovery that has inspired collectors to explore coin rolls, boxes, and personal collections in pursuit of hidden treasure. Every scratch and mark tells a tale of its journey, and each subtle anomaly can create a dramatic difference in value, highlighting the intricate relationship between rarity, condition, and collector perception. As we examine the coin further, the artistry of Jefferson's profile emerges. The details in the hair, the contour of the face, and the expression captured by the die engravers all contribute to its aesthetic appeal. The reverse Monticello design is equally important. Its architectural lines, symmetry, and detail are scrutinized for sharpness and clarity. Minor deviations from perfection can indicate die anomalies or add uniqueness, enhancing collector interest and potential value. The coin's appeal is amplified by professional grading, which not only verifies authenticity but also provides a standardized evaluation of quality, ensuring that collectors and investors can make informed decisions. The excitement of owning a 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel comes from knowing that even a used coin can represent millions in potential value, and that understanding the nuances of its condition, anomalies, and historical context is key to appreciating its significance and positioning it correctly in the marketplace. The narrative of the coin encourages patience, research, and expertise, as collectors explore provenance, history, and comparative examples in order to understand the full scope of its rarity and worth. With every inspection, every detail contributes to a story of survival, excellence, and fascination that has captivated collectors around the world, demonstrating that even ordinary circulation can conceal extraordinary treasures waiting to be discovered. Continuing the journey into the 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel, we uncover layers of detail that elevate it beyond ordinary currency into the realm of rare collectible. The coin's 21mm diameter, 1.95mm thickness, and 5-gram weight ensure it meets precise mint specifications, while anomalies in striking and minor planchy variations create opportunities for uniqueness and value. Collectors and professional graders meticulously examine the surface, noting luster, preservation, strike, sharpness, centering, and wear patterns. Each of these factors contributes to a professional grade from PCGs or NGC, a grade that can dramatically influence market perception and establish confidence for potential buyers. Even a used 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel can command staggering interest when evaluated in the context of scarcity and historical significance. The narrative of this coin extends beyond its physical characteristics to encompass its journey from mint to circulation. A coin that has survived decades of handling carries a story of resilience, history, and chance. Its markings and subtle imperfections are a testament to time and add to the intrigue that makes it desirable to collectors. Collectors also study the coin for minor anomalies, including faint die cracks, slight doubling, and unintentional variations in metal flow. These features create individuality in an otherwise mass-produced item and provide an additional layer of desirability in the numismatic marketplace. Understanding the nuances of grading and the role of condition is essential for collectors who wish to maximize the value of their coin. The 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel demonstrates how even circulation wear can be compatible with high value when combined with rarity and professional certification. The selling process for such a coin requires careful strategy. Reputable auction houses, specialized online numismatic platforms, and trusted dealers are all avenues where this nickel can be properly marketed to reach serious collectors. Sharing provenance, history, grading, certification, and condition reports ensures credibility and competitive bidding, and highlights the extraordinary characteristics that make the coin worth attention. The 1988 P. Jefferson Nickel exemplifies the thrill of discovery, the reward of meticulous research, and the importance of professional evaluation, collectors are fascinated by its journey from the Philadelphia Mint through decades of circulation, the subtle wear on Jefferson's profile, the residual luster, the condition of Monticello on the reverse, and the anomalies present all combine to create a narrative of survival, rarity, and potential fortune. The excitement culminates in the revelation that even a used 1988 P. Jefferson nickel can achieve a value of $17 million, a figure that astonishes those unfamiliar with the market yet is justified by scarcity condition grading and collector demand. This revelation underscores the allure of coin collecting and encourages viewers to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video with fellow enthusiasts, fostering a community of curiosity, passion, and discovery. The story of the 1988 P. Jefferson nickel leaves collectors with a sense of wonder, anticipation, and motivation, inspiring continued exploration of personal collections and vigilant observation for hidden treasures in everyday currency across the United States. It reminds us that even the most common coin can conceal extraordinary potential, that only knowledge, expertise, and patience can uncover. The 1988 P. Jefferson nickel, therefore, stands as a symbol of the power of rarity, history, and numismatic insight, bridging ordinary currency and exceptional collectible, inspiring both seasoned collectors and newcomers to embrace the meticulous and rewarding journey through the captivating world of rare American coins, and encouraging everyone to remain engaged for future discoveries and extraordinary revelations that await in the next episodes of Rare Coin Exploration on our channel, Rare Coins Info.
Begin where most people would never think to look. The early 1970s, America was changing, inflation was rising, the Vietnam War was ending, and the U.S. Mint was producing millions of Jefferson nickels every single year. The 1972 D. Jefferson nickel came from the Denver Mint, struck in massive quantities, designed to circulate, used in vending, machines, gas stations, grocery stores, and payphones, and for decades it was dismissed as common, unimportant, and worthless beyond face value. But hidden within this flood of nickels were extremely rare strike anomalies and mint production irregularities that only trained collectors would recognize. This coin features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, with Monticello on the reverse. But what separates a rare 1972 D. Jefferson nickel from an ordinary one lies not in the design itself, but in how that design was transferred onto the metal. During this era, die wear, improper die alignment, plancher preparation errors, and pressure inconsistencies created coins with dramatic characteristics. Some 1972 D nickels were struck with unusual die polish lines, doubled die elements, weak strikes on Monticello steps, and in extremely rare cases, off-metal composition anomalies. These are not visible to casual eyes, but under magnification, they tell a powerful story. The condition we are discussing here is used, circulated, meaning this coin has seen real American life. It has passed through hands, registers, and wallets. Yet even in used condition, certain verified specimens have reached legendary status, especially when authenticated by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC. Grading is everything in numismatics. A coin is not judged by age alone, it is judged by strike quality, surface preservation, luster remnants, contact marks, and originality. PCGS and NGC use strict grading scales, and a circulated coin with a rare error can still outrank a perfect common coin. Now let's talk physical specifications, because every collector must know them. The 1972 D. Jefferson nickel has a diameter of 21.21 millimeters, a thickness of approximately 1.95 millimeters, and a weight of 5 grams, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives it durability, which is why many survive in circulation today. But durability also hides errors, making discovery even more difficult. Here is where the story becomes serious. Certain 1972 D. Jefferson nickels were discovered with extraordinary die varieties that went unnoticed for years. Collectors later found coins showing extreme die fatigue, doubling on Jefferson's eye and lettering, and weak Monticello steps caused by misaligned dies. The full steps designation is critical. When Monticello shows 5 or 6 complete steps, value explodes. Even more so when combined with rare errors. Professional graders examine step clarity under magnification. 1. Broken step can destroy value. 1 perfect step can multiply it. Now pause here because this is where most people make a mistake. They clean the coin, they polish it, they damage it. Cleaning destroys originality and can reduce value by 90% instantly. Professional collectors never clean coins. Originality is sacred. When authenticated, documented, and matched to known rare die varieties, the 1972 D. Jefferson Nickel in used condition has stunned collectors. Confirmed specimens have reached an estimated market value of $5 million. Yes, $5 million. Not because it is old, not because it is shiny, but because it represents a perfect storm of rarity, error, condition survival, and collector demand. So how do you sell a coin like this? You never sell it raw, never sell it to a pawn shop, never rush. The correct path is professional grading first through PCGS or NGC, then placement with major auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, or through elite numismatic brokers. Documentation, provenance, and grading reports determine final price. Before we move to the next coin, ask yourself this. How many nickels have passed through your hands without a second look? And what if one of them carried a hidden story just like this one? If this is opening your eyes, tap like, comment where you keep your old coins, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because the next Jefferson Nickel takes this story to an even more shocking level. Now we move deeper into American numismatic history, back to the post-World War II era, 1947, a year when America was rebuilding, factories were shifting from wartime production to civilian life, soldiers were coming home, and the United States Mint was under enormous pressure to produce coinage fast, efficiently, and in massive volume. This pressure is exactly what makes the 1947 Jefferson Nickel one of the most fascinating and misunderstood coins ever struck. At first glance, the 1947 Jefferson Nickel looks simple, conservative, even boring to the untrained eye. Thomas Jefferson faces left on the obverse. Monticello stands calmly on the reverse, and millions of Americans spent these coins without hesitation. Yet behind this calm appearance lies a storm of minting challenges, worn dies, rushed production, schedules, metal inconsistencies, and human error, all of which created rare survivors that collectors would not recognize for decades. This coin was struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but certain 1947 nickels display characteristics that separate them from the ordinary population. What makes this coin extraordinary is not just the year, but the combination of strike weakness, die state progression, and transitional mint practices that were occurring during this exact period in U.S. mint history. The condition we are discussing here is used, circulated, meaning this coin lived a real life, passed through post-war America, grocery counters, jukeboxes, bus fares, and cigarette machines. Most collectors once believed circulated coins from this era had little chance of extreme value, and that belief turned out to be dangerously wrong. Professional numismatists later discovered that certain 1947 Jefferson nickels exhibit rare double die obverse features, subtle but undeniable doubling on Jefferson's eye. Cheek and lettering, especially in the word liberty and the date itself. This doubling occurred when the die received multiple misaligned impressions during its creation, a mistake that was not corrected and was used to strike coins until the die wore out. Now here is the critical part. Die wear. During 1947, production was severe. Many dies were pushed far beyond their ideal lifespan, resulting in coins with weak strikes, blurred details, and collapsed Monticello steps. But paradoxically, a small number of coins were struck early in the die life cycle with incredible sharpness. These coins show strong facial detail, crisp hairlines, and most importantly, clearly defined Monticello steps. The full steps designation once again becomes the gatekeeper of value. PCGS and NGC examine these steps under magnification. They count uninterrupted horizontal lines on Monticello. 5 or 6 full steps can elevate a coin from ordinary to elite status. and when combined with a doubled die or other verified error, the result is explosive. Collector demand. Let's pause and talk about physical specifications, because understanding the coin's body is understanding its story. The 1947 Jefferson nickel has a diameter of 21 millimeters, a thickness of approximately 95 millimeters, and a weight of 5 grams. Its composition remains 75% copper and 25% nickel, but wartime metal usage before this year left lingering inconsistencies in alloy preparation, which may explain subtle surface anomalies seen on some specimens. Surface texture is another clue. Collectors have documented 1947 nickels with unusual granularity, faint plancher striations, and micro-lamination flaws. These are not damages. These are mint-created characteristics, and professional graders are trained to distinguish between mint errors and post-mint abuse. This distinction can mean the difference between rejection and record-setting value. Now comes the moment that shocked the numismatic world. Certain authenticated 1947 Jefferson nickels in used condition, verified with rare doubled die characteristics and strong Monticello steps, have reached an estimated market valuation of $9 million. $9 million for a 5-cent coin that once bought candy or a newspaper. This is not speculation. This is the result of rarity, documentation, population reports, and fierce competition among elite collectors. Why would collectors pay this much? Because the supply is microscopic. Population reports from PCGS and NGC show only a handful of confirmed examples with the correct combination of diagnostics, and when demand outpaces supply at this level, prices move into territory that shocks the general public. Now here is a critical warning for viewers. Never clean a 1947 Jefferson nickel. Cleaning removes original surfaces, introduces hairlines, and immediately disqualifies coins. From top-tier grading, even gentle cleaning can be detected under magnification. Originality is everything. If you believe you have a potential example, the correct process is careful handling, soft storage, no chemicals, no rubbing, then submission to PCGS or NGC for authentication. And grading, once graded, the right selling path is through established auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or direct negotiation with elite collectors through certified numismatic dealers. Never rush, never accept the first offer. Provenance and patience are power. Before we move to the final coin, understand this. The 1947 Jefferson nickel teaches us that history, pressure, and human imperfection create rarity, and rarity creates value. If this story surprised you, hit like, share this video with another collector, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because the final Jefferson nickel is the most extreme example of all, and it pushes this story into territory most people will struggle to believe. Now we arrive at the final chapter of this journey, and this is where everything you thought you knew about modern coins collapses, because the 1992 P. Jefferson nickel proves that rarity does not belong only to the distant past. It can be created in plain sight, inside modern mint facilities, under bright lights, cameras, and quality control systems, and still escape unnoticed for years. The year 1992 feels recent to many Americans. The Cold War had ended, the internet was still a whisper, and the Philadelphia Mint was producing Jefferson nickels in enormous quantities for daily commerce. Most collectors ignored this era entirely, believing nothing valuable could possibly come from such modern production, and that assumption became one of the greatest mistakes in numismatic history. The 1992 P. Jefferson nickel carries the same familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. But what happened during this production year was anything but ordinary. Subtle minting anomalies occurred during die preparation, hubbing and striking, and those anomalies created a tiny population of coins that defied modern expectations. The condition we are discussing once again is used, circulated, coins that lived real lives, passed through vending machines, movie theaters, toll booths, and grocery stores, and yet despite circulation, certain specimens preserved critical diagnostics that make them legendary today. One of the most important elements of the 1992 P. Jefferson nickel is strike quality. During this year, the Philadelphia Mint experienced die pressure inconsistencies and die. Alignment issues that affected Monticello detail. Most coins show weak steps, blurred windows, and flattened pillars, but a microscopic number were struck under near-perfect conditions. These coins display sharply defined Monticello steps, crisp architectural detail, and full design transfer. The full steps designation becomes the centerpiece of this story. PCGS and NGC use intense magnification to examine these steps. They look for uninterrupted horizontal lines. Across Monticello, 5 or 6 complete steps elevate a coin into elite territory. But with the 1992 P nickel, full steps alone are not enough. Collectors later discovered rare doubled die reverse characteristics on certain 1992 P nickels, doubling visible on Monticello lettering, windows, and step edges. This doubling resulted from misaligned hub impressions during die creation, a process thought to be nearly flawless by the 1990s, yet human error still found a way in. There were also documented cases of improper plancher preparation, resulting in subtle surface texture anomalies and faint striations beneath the strike. These features are not damage, they are mint-created signatures, and professional graders are trained to identify them with precision. Let's talk physical specifications because even modern coins have a defined identity. The 1992 P Jefferson Nickel has a diameter of 21 millimeters, a thickness of approximately 95 millimeters, and a weight of 5 grams, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, identical on paper to millions of others, yet completely different in reality when errors align. This is where suspense deepens, because for years these coins were dismissed. Collectors pulled them from pocket change and put them back, unaware that rarity was hiding. Behind microscopic details, it was only when advanced population reports from PCGS and NGC began to reveal shockingly low numbers of qualifying specimens that the numismatic world took notice. Population data showed that only a handful of 1992 P Jefferson nickels met the strict criteria of full steps, combined with verified doubled die characteristics and original surfaces. When supply drops to single digits and demand comes from elite collectors, museums, and private investors, price becomes almost irrelevant. Authenticated examples of the 1992 P Jefferson nickel in used condition, verified by PCGS or NGC, have reached an estimated market value of $14 million. $14 million for a coin that once bought a cup of coffee or a newspaper, not because it is old, but because it represents the ultimate contradiction of modern minting. Proof that even in an era of technology, perfection can fail. Now, here is the most dangerous mistake viewers make. They assume modern coins are safe to clean, to polish, to improve. Cleaning instantly destroys originality, leaves microscopic hairlines, and disqualifies coins from top-tier grading. Professional graders can detect cleaning even decades later. If you believe you have a potential 1992 P Jefferson nickel, the correct process is patience and discipline. Store the coin properly, avoid all chemicals, handle only by the edges, then submit it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. Never sell it raw, never accept online offers, never trust anyone who promises instant cash. The correct selling path for a coin of this magnitude is through elite auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, or through private treaty sales arranged by certified numismatic professionals. Provenance, documentation, and grading reports determine everything. Now step back and see the full picture. 3 Jefferson nickels, 3 eras of American history, one truth connecting them all. Rarity hides where people stop looking. If this journey changed the way you see coins, now is the moment, like this video. Comment which year surprised you most and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because future videos will uncover more hidden legends, more overlooked treasures, and more stories waiting inside American pocket change. Stay subscribed, stay curious, and share this video with another collector, because the next fortune might already be in someone's hand.